John, from your perspective, in terms of doing good and doing well, I mean, you've become a vegan. You know, you're walking the walk and talking the talk. In terms of, you know, animal products in the clothing and the things that you design, how deeply does a business or should a business be integrating, you know, its philosophies? Is it something that needs to cascade across all employees of an organization? At what point? And I think that having a philosophy for a business is clearly crucial. It needs to be part of your DNA. But where do you draw the line, and how do you integrate that to a business that's then scalable?
Good question. Well, one thing I wanted to say was I think that most companies and individuals, they all want to help. They will come up to you, and I'm sure up to you, how can I help? And some people just don't know how, like, what are the opportunities and how can they help? So I think it feels good to be able to do that. And then on a corporate level, it feels like the same thing. They want to be able to give to something that means a lot to possibly the CEO of the company. I worked for a while with the Liz Claiborne Company, and they were very, very involved in charity, and they also got all of their employees involved at a base level where they would go out and into the field for a day and spend volunteering doing different things. And I don't know, to me it's any company and any individual at this point in our history and where we are in the world, and with the awareness of everything that's going on and the idea that we're all connected, I don't know any company that doesn't want to somehow figure out how they can help and get involved. And it just feels good. It just, to me, it's like a given now with any corporation, with any design company, with any individual. And I'm always surprised if somebody doesn't have a particular charity or fund or something that they're attracted to or drawn to or working for. And but I know everybody's trying to find their own way in this.
In terms of incorporating to kind of a corporate DNA, like the doing good to the very core of the business, as opposed to it just being an overlay of, oh, look, we're doing really good things, we're giving this percentage of our time or our money. Talk a little bit about, as you've built your brand and you've really built this idea of philanthropy, this eco design. You've just, congratulations, you won an award this past fall, for eco design. How can you encourage other businesses, so to be an example to other businesses, to say, hey, look, we can do this and be doing well, and we're also really doing good in the world in terms of attracting employees and partners and that sort of thing?
Well, again, I think I found in my own journey in the last couple of years, one, I've been very angry. Just like every day I learn something new about what happens to animals in different industries, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that we could be that cruel, or that, like, how could we even have thought of that? So I'm still in my angry stage, and I know I turn a lot of people off, and in my industry, animal welfare is so not sexy. It's like, it's the antithesis of fashion in many ways. So trying to speak to that has been really interesting. I just lost my train of thought.
Well, let's talk about, but I think anger is sometimes a good place for things. It's sometimes a good motivation for things. So how do you channel that and use it in a productive way so that you're not coming across as strident and make it a productive conversation?
I guess, well, because you had brought up, I just won this wonderful grant from Lexus to develop eco-friendly, sustainable product. And to me, that's going to incorporate building a luxury brand of accessories that don't use leather or suede, but have the feeling and the quality and the heritage of those kind of materials.
Cool.
And which I'm very excited about. And getting to work with Lexus on this and their whole connection to sustainability and the whole thing, to me, is a really interesting thing. But what I'm finding is the way that I can possibly get my own message across is just by doing. And also my boyfriend's always saying to me, don't be judgmental. Everybody's got their own decisions to make. And so that's my challenge, is to just try to do what I'm doing and hopefully maybe inform somebody else who's interested in what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about. But there's that fine line about preaching, and that's really hard. I think when you get that you have so much information, whether it's about the AIDS crisis, animal welfare, there's on so many levels that, if not everybody's as passionate as you are about it, what's wrong with them? So It's a hard thing to remember.
Don't get it. Oh, no, that's not right. Beating them in the head with a stick. Deborah, I had a very strange conversation when I was actually just over in Israel last week talking with some entrepreneurs over there, and I had a very strange experience of a conversation where one of them looked at me and said, "Oh yeah, AIDS, that's taken care of, right?" And I said, I won't name him, I don't want to embarrass him, but he said, yeah, because people can live longer lives now, and if you just get them the right drugs early enough. And I sat there completely perplexed that this perception could even exist when there are millions of people, who are suffering and dying, who don't have access to the right kind of medical care. How do you combat? I mean, this is a highly educated, pretty informed individual. So when you think about trying to educate still.
Right. No, and in the U.S. and Europe, there's a different perspective because there aren't as many people dying. So, the other side is many people feel actually it's not solvable, that it's just always going to be. I mean, I happen to think, just based on the research and everything, that in a way, the person you talk to is onto something, because right now, to take the last UN meetings in June, you can start to take pieces of the AIDS pandemic, quantify what it would take, for example, mother-child transmission of HIV. Not a huge issue in the United States, not a huge issue anymore in Europe, a huge issue in developing countries. And there is the drug available. There is proof that if you take it for this many days, it's 40 cents a day, you won't transmit HIV to your moms, to your babes. When that happens, and so 5 years ago, it was about 94% in developing countries that would give HIV to their babies. Now it's 54%. In 2015, with the drugs, it could be less than 5%. And you start to see an AIDS-free generation. When you start to see that, people can actually grasp the beginning of the end of AIDS. And you could actually think, in our lifetime, we've seen this ravage the planet, and a new generation can make it go away, much like polio. I mean, that's like a phenomenal thing, and I don't think that message is out there. So you will hear loud and clear from Red just about this one transmission issue, because we're picking one thing that we can blow out of the water to make this generation feel like it's solvable. And we do it in a very provocative, smart, I think, innovative way. We don't show a lot of pictures of dying babies. You'll see in World AIDS Day the hippest graphics on MTV about what the statistics are for this issue, about how it is solvable, because we want people to feel like there's hope. So in a way, yes, that person says, isn't it solvable? Like, aren't there drugs now, and aren't people living, but they don't know that there's still 34 million people with HIV. They don't know the statistics. I feel like the onus is on Red to let everybody know, to have a hook to say, we're not done. From now to 2015, we are going to put the heat on this issue. And just like that little act of buying the nano or whatever, make people feel that they're taking AIDS off the planet. You will hear a lot of people start talking about the beginning of the end of AIDS and an AIDS-free generation. That's magnificent. I mean, I feel so incredibly proud that if we can get that message out, and do I feel there's a million issues with AIDS? Yes, there's not enough workers on the ground. We could go on and on. But my job is to take one that's marketable and say, let's rally, let's quantify this, let's have it on the website, let's do amazing events. We'll turn all the monuments red for World AIDS Day. I want to get the Apple stores to go red, we'll see. But well, just because it was so important to jobs. So in a way, it's fitting and authentic. And then, different programs. So from now to 2015, if we've done 175 million towards this cause in the first 5 years, I want to double that in the next 5 years. I don't want it to be, oh, we have fatigue with this cause. Oh, we think that it's solvable, and so I don't have to think about it. I'm thinking about joblessness in the U.S. I'm thinking about all good causes, but in everybody's heart of heart, you feel like it's almost a basic human right for basic medical care. And if you know the drug exists, it's kind of sickening that it's not an issue here, but it still is somewhere else in such a devastating way.
I was shocked to find out not so long ago that 1 in 3 people infected with HIV often die of tuberculosis.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, tuberculosis,
No, it's not just
isn't
one
that
thing. Yeah, no, it's
isn't
horrible.
that something that we should kind of have our arms around at this point in time? So it really is a larger, it's not just one issue.
Well, and like with malaria, with that net campaign, which was fabulous, people buy a net, pay $20, get the net, put the net over the baby, or the individual. They don't get the bite, they don't get malaria. You want to make it digestible for people. You want to have them be able to feel the passion and to say, okay, I'm going to do something small because I'm a truck driver in Ohio and I actually don't have much money. But if I do this red thing, I know that mammoth corporation, which is making tons of money, is going to have to care about this issue. And I think, to your point, you can't not be that as a corporation now. You can't, when I grew up, it was like Ben and Jerry's, Paul Newman,
Right.
and you're like, go, go, go for these companies. Now
That was pretty much it.
right, that's pretty much it. And
Both food, by the way.
right. And love Paul Newman and love, the concept, but it took a very long time for them to get anywhere close to 175 million that we've done in 4 years. So by triggering corporations and by having brands care, great things can happen. And in fact, this generation won't have it any other way. Their social causes are their identity. They want to go with your fashion to a cocktail party and have somebody ask about it. They want to have the red iPad cover to say, this is what I believe in, and this is who I am. That didn't exist before, and you can't put a movement on people. It has to come from people. And so what I try to do is just facilitate that as best as I can.